NBR and New Authority, building bridges back to the power of non-violent resistance. Group Sessions, Week 6. Next steps following the delivery of the announcement. So what happens after the announcement? This is where your support network comes in. Your support network should follow your lead, especially with the delivery of our conscious, mindful and strategic parenting messages. Mobilising your supporters and managing what messages are delivered, by whom and when, is a big part of developing our new authority. The first step after the announcement is to plan your message campaigns. These should be pre-planned and agreed with your supporters to ensure consistency of connection and correction from all the hands around the child. In a message campaign, supporters are notified by the parents. The young person then becomes aware that the parent is no longer alone and that a number of people are concerned about them. The message campaign can take the form of texts, cards, emails, or passing comments. Messages to the child from supporters should follow a three-part format: expressing of knowing what's happened, providing an opinion, and reinforcing the relationship and keeping the shield of shame at bay. So for example, knowing, I heard you hit your mother last night. Opinion, that's not right. Non-shaming, I care about you and your mum. You're still a good person and I'm here to help. Remember, messages in the campaign should be equally focused on connection and correction. They might cringe publicly, but privately children gain strength, composure and resilience from genuine praise and relational gestures like this. This can take the form of an appreciation message, again using our three-part format. Knowing, I noticed you helped with cleaning up the house. Opinion, you did an awesome job. Non-shaming, I hope you don't mind me saying that. I just wanted to let you know what you did is appreciated. Following an act of resistance, such as a message campaign, remember to create the balance by conducting a relational gesture. Prepare it in advance. Remember relational gestures? These are absolutely not contingent on the child's behaviour. We're cultivating the child's awareness of your unconditional positive regard for them. So in some ways, it's more important to apply a relational gesture when a corrective message has been delivered. Always be on the lookout for that shield of shame and slip it like a black belt in parental jiu-jitsu. Following your formal announcement, and alongside the message campaign and relational gestures, you might also want to consider a sit-in. The sit-in is a strong act of parental presence that demonstrates new authority. Sit-ins are about sitting with the child, making a brief statement and waiting for a young person to come up with an idea to solve the issue. These were originally devised as being very formal, with more than one person involved and lasting roughly an hour, but it's good to be more flexible, less heavy-handed and more natural. You should tailor sit-ins to meet you and your child's needs. It should take place hours after or the next day or two after an event. It should involve at least two adults where possible. Always assess risk. They're not a punishment, they're more of a relational gesture. And they should involve a brief message. For example, we're here because. And in the end, if you haven't found a solution, it's okay to suggest that you'll find a solution next time. They're an opportunity to think about a problem and to suggest alternatives, but you can also sit in silence and respond only to constructive suggestions. Remember, it's okay to abandon a sit-in if it's not working. You have to always be aware of the threat response of your child. And remember that there are different types of sit-in for children who are not aggressive. Here are some pointers for all types of sit-ins. Use the space of the room. You could sit in front of the child. You might sandwich the child with an adult on either side. You could sit in a circle. So remember that they're part of a campaign, so planning ahead is essential. The key is looking for the child to come up with a solution or to change entrenched patterns and dynamics. Sit-ins need to be very carefully planned. You should be asking yourself, who's going to be involved? Where is the sit-in to be done? When are we going to do it? What will be said? Who will say it? What will we do if a child's behaviour escalates significantly? Don't get into a situation where you're trying to win a battle. You can cut the sit-in short on your terms. A useful way to support the sit-in, or really just any interactions with the child, would be to use systemic mirroring. This is a way of communicating that uses curiosity to communicate empathy and care. This is a really useful approach when shame is involved, It basically helps to regulate feelings and to enhance relationships. It helps to say, I see you and you are not alone. Relationships can become better attuned through mirroring. By using systemic mirroring, you can assist a child to find their voice. You can help to re-establish connections and regain your own lost empathy for the child. Systemic mirroring involves facilitating the unsaid between family members. You should use phrases like, I'm wondering if you might be feeling, or it must be really hard because. Systemic mirroring creates empathy and it facilitates a voice for the young person. We will now look at some different types of sit-ins that you can adapt for your needs. Important points to remember are that they're about offering support and a way to find a solution to a problem. You should remember consistency of approach, projecting a calm manner, being solution-focused and being reassuring. Link to staying in the moment in a regulated way. Raise presence, be a calming influence and don't rush to a solution. For the stability sit-in, this would be useful for an emotional child. The purpose is to find security and stability and help the child calm down. With unpredictable children that sometimes offer resistance and at other times retreat, the role of the parent here is to offer stability. The parent must be the anchor for the child, and it requires them to be quietly self-stable. At the start of a sit-in, you could say, we're here because we want a better relationship with you, or because we want to get along better with each other. In the middle, you could point out that parents participate in an active way. We need a solution because we know you're suffering and we want to help you. And always end with a connective statement. Everything will be fine. The flexibility sit-in. This can be useful in helping to break established patterns of behaviour in the relationship. It also builds your parental presence by taking back space and changing the dynamic. The flexibility sit-in is useful for rigid children who have no solutions and asking them questions does not help. Neither does sitting in silence, it just makes them more rigid. The purpose is that it is not a solution but to bring flexibility into the system. Parents do something that's surprising to the child, maybe use humour like saying, you must struggle with us, perhaps introduce different people. Try not to mirror the rigidity of the child. At the start, you could point out that you're here to solve a problem, and at the end, make sure that you're reassuring them by letting them know that everything will be fine. Finally, the reclusive sit-in for withdrawn children. This is a more gentle approach with a gentle push towards more communication and ultimately some ideas for change. For the reclusive sit-in, you should be thinking about using this with withdrawn children. It's not really intended that there'll be a solution by the end of the sit-in. If the parents put in too much force, it is likely that the child will continue to retreat. So start by saying nothing. If the child asks why you're here, respond simply that you've come to sit with them. Remember, all of the strategies we've discussed today follow your formal announcement and are about building and maintaining a parental presence that facilitates connection and correction.